proposed revision to the National Electrical Code involves moving the definition of bundled conductors and cables from Article 520.2 to Article 100. Article 100 is dedicated to definitions that apply across multiple articles within the NEC. The proposed definition in Article 100 states that bundled conductors or cables are those that are physically held together, wrapped together, or otherwise arranged in a common sheath, but not individually enclosed in a raceway, cable, or armor. This revision is intended to improve clarity and consistency throughout the NEC, as the term bundled is used in multiple sections. These sections include 310.15b2, 334.80, and 520.53h2. Let's delve into the reasons and implications of this proposed change. Firstly, we'll examine the current structure of the NEC and the role of Article 100. Secondly, we'll analyze the definition of bundled and its significance in electrical installations. Thirdly, we'll explore the specific sections of the NEC where the term bundled is used and how this change will affect their interpretation. Article 100 of the NEC serves as a central repository for definitions of terms used in two or more other articles within the Code. This ensures consistency in the understanding and application of these terms throughout the NEC. By consolidating definitions in Article 100, the NEC aims to reduce ambiguity and promote uniformity in electrical installations. The definition of bundled is crucial because it affects how conductors and cables are rated for ampacity. When conductors are bundled together, their ability to dissipate heat is reduced, which can lead to overheating and potential fire hazards. Therefore, the NEC requires that the ampacity of bundled conductors be derated to account for this reduced heat dissipation. The proposed definition clarifies what constitutes bundled conductors and cables. This definition is critical for determining whether ampacity derating factors should be applied. The phrase physically held together implies direct contact between conductors or cables. Wrapped together suggests that the conductors or cables are secured with tape, cable ties, or other means. Otherwise arranged in a common sheath indicates that the conductors or cables are grouped within a single outer covering, but not individually enclosed in a raceway, cable, or armor. Now let's examine the specific sections of the NEC where the term bundled is used and how the proposed change will impact them. Section 310.15b2 deals with the ampacity of conductors in raceways or cables. This section specifies the conditions under which ampacity derating factors must be applied due to the number of current-carrying conductors in a raceway or cable. When conductors are bundled together, they are considered to be current-carrying conductors for the purposes of this derating requirement. The proposed change will clarify whether conductors or cables are considered bundled under this section. This will help ensure that the appropriate ampacity derating factors are applied. Section 334.80 covers the ampacity of non-metallic sheath cable, also known as NM cable. This section specifies the allowable ampacity of NM cable based on the size of the conductors and the type of insulation. However, when NM cables are bundled together, their ampacity must be derated in accordance with 310.15b2. The proposed change will provide a clear definition of what constitutes bundled NM cables. This will help installers determine when ampacity derating is required. Section 520.53h2 addresses wiring methods for temporary installations in theaters, audience areas of motion picture and television studios, and similar locations. This section allows for the use of flexible cords and cables for temporary wiring subject to certain restrictions. One of these restrictions is that the flexible cords and cables must be supported and protected from physical damage. When flexible cords and cables are bundled together, they are more susceptible to overheating and damage. Therefore, the NEC requires that they be derated in accordance with 310.15b2. The proposed change will clarify whether flexible cords and cables are considered bundled under this section. This will help ensure that temporary wiring installations are safe and compliant with the NEC. In summary, the proposed revision to move the definition of bundled from Article 520.2 to Article 100 is intended to improve clarity and consistency throughout the NEC. This change will affect the interpretation of sections 310.15b2, 334.80, and 520.53h2, which all address the ampacity of bundled conductors and cables. By providing a clear and consistent definition of bundled, the NEC aims to ensure that electrical installations are safe and compliant with the code. Now let's delve deeper into the implications of bundling conductors and the importance of ampacity directing. When conductors are bundled together, the heat generated by each conductor cannot dissipate as effectively as it would if the conductors were individually spaced. This is because the surrounding conductors act as insulators, trapping heat and increasing the overall temperature of the bundle. The increased temperature can damage the insulation of the conductors, leading to short circuits, ground faults, and potential fire hazards. To prevent these hazards, the NEC requires that the ampacity of bundled conductors be directed. Ampacity directing involves reducing the allowable current carrying capacity of the conductors to account for the increased temperature. The amount of directing required depends on the number of current carrying conductors in the bundle and the ambient temperature. Section 310.15b2 provides tables that specify the ampacity directing factors for different numbers of current carrying conductors. These tables take into account the effect of bundling on the heat dissipation of the conductors. For example, if a cable contains 4 current carrying conductors, the ampacity of each conductor must be directed to 80% of its original value. This means that a conductor that is normally rated for 20 amps can only carry 16 amps when it is bundled with 3 other current carrying conductors. It is important to note that the ampacity directing requirements apply only to current carrying conductors. A neutral conductor is generally not considered to be a current carrying conductor unless it carries a significant amount of unbalanced current. A grounding conductor is also not considered to be a current carrying conductor because it only carries current during a fault condition. The NEC also provides specific rules for bundling conductors in different types of raceways and cables. For example, when conductors are installed in a conduit, the conduit must be sized large enough to allow for adequate heat dissipation. The NEC also specifies the maximum number of conductors that can be installed in a conduit of a given size. These rules are designed to prevent overheating and ensure the safe operation of electrical systems. In addition to ampacity directing, the NEC also requires that bundled conductors be properly supported and secured. This is to prevent the conductors from sagging or becoming damaged. The NEC specifies the maximum spacing between supports for different types of conductors and cables. The supports must be strong enough to hold the weight of the conductors and cables without sagging. The NEC also requires that bundled conductors be protected from physical damage. This can be achieved by installing the conductors in a raceway or by using a cable with a protective jacket. The raceway or jacket must be strong enough to withstand the expected physical stresses without being damaged. It is important to follow all of the NEC requirements for bundling conductors to ensure the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems. Failure to comply with these requirements can lead to overheating, short circuits, ground faults, and potential fire hazards. The proposed revision to the NEC will help to clarify these requirements and make it easier for electricians and installers to comply with the code. By moving the definition of bundle to Article 100, the NEC will ensure that this term is used consistently throughout the code. This will reduce ambiguity and promote uniformity in electrical installations. The proposed revision will also help to improve the safety of electrical systems by ensuring that conductors are properly directed and protected from physical damage. In addition to the specific sections mentioned earlier, the term bundled may also be used in other sections of the NEC. Therefore, it is important to consult the latest edition of the NEC to ensure that you are complying with all of the applicable requirements. The NEC is a complex and constantly evolving document. It is important to stay up to date on the latest changes to the code to ensure that your electrical installations are safe and compliant. There are many resources available to help you stay informed about the NEC. These resources include the NEC Handbook, training courses, and online forums. By taking advantage of these resources, you can ensure that you have the knowledge and skills necessary to safely and effectively install electrical systems. The proposed revision to the NEC is a positive step towards improving the clarity and consistency of the code. By moving the definition of bundle to Article 100, the NEC will make it easier for electricians and installers to comply with the code and ensure the safety of electrical systems. Now, let's consider some practical examples of how the proposed change might affect real-world electrical installations. Imagine a scenario where an electrician is installing several NM cables in a residential building. The electrician needs to run these cables through a confined space, such as a wall cavity or an attic. To save space, the electrician decides to bundle the cables together using cable ties. Under the current NEC, it may be unclear whether these bundled cables are subject to opacity directing requirements. However, with the proposed change, the definition of bundled will be clearer. If the cables are physically held together or wrapped together, they will be considered bundled and subject to opacity directing. This will require the electrician to either use larger conductors or reduce the amount of current that the cables can carry. In another scenario, consider a commercial building where several flexible cords are used to power temporary lighting fixtures. The flexible cords are run along the floor and are bundled together to keep them out of the way. Under the current NEC, it may be unclear whether these bundled flexible cords are subject to opacity directing requirements. However, with the proposed change, the definition of bundled will be clearer. If the flexible cords are physically held together or wrapped together, they will be considered bundled and subject to opacity directing. This will require the electrician to either use larger flexible cords or reduce the amount of current that the flexible cords can carry. These are just a few examples of how the proposed change might affect real-world electrical installations. The key takeaway is that the proposed change will provide a clearer definition of bundles, which will help electricians and installers to comply with the NEC and ensure the safety of electrical systems. It is important to remember that the NEC is not a substitute for proper training and experience. Electricians and installers should always be properly trained and qualified to perform electrical work. They should also have a thorough understanding of the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. By following these guidelines, you can help to ensure that electrical installations are safe and reliable. The proposed revision to the NEC is a welcome change that will improve the clarity and consistency of the code. By moving the definition of bundle to Article 100, the NEC will make it easier for electricians and installers to comply with the code and ensure the safety of electrical systems. The impact of the proposed change extends beyond just clarity. It also promotes consistency in inspections and enforcement. When the definition of bundled is clear and universally applied, electrical inspectors can consistently assess whether installations comply with the NEC requirements for opacity directing. This reduces the potential for misinterpretations and ensures a level playing field for all electrical contractors. Furthermore, the proposed change can lead to better design practices. By having a clear understanding of what constitutes bundled conductors, electrical engineers and designers can make more informed decisions about conductor sizing and raceway fill. This can result in more efficient and safer electrical systems. It's also important to note that the proposed change aligns with the NEC ongoing efforts to improve its usability and clarity. The NEC is constantly being revised and updated to reflect new technologies, installation practices, and safety concerns. Moving the definition of bundle to Article 100 is just one example of how the NEC is evolving to meet the needs of the electrical industry. As technology advances, the NEC must adapt to address new challenges and ensure the safety of electrical systems. This includes addressing the growing use of renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power, as well as the increasing demand for electric vehicle charging infrastructure. The NEC also plays a vital role in promoting energy efficiency. By specifying minimum requirements for wiring and equipment, the NEC helps to reduce energy consumption and lower utility bills. In conclusion, the proposed revision to move the definition of bundle to Article 100 is a significant improvement to the NEC. It enhances clarity, promotes consistency, and supports better design practices. By staying informed about these changes and adhering to the NEC requirements, electrical professionals can ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems for years to come. Remember to always consult the latest edition of the NEC and seek guidance from qualified electrical professionals when designing, installing, or inspecting electrical systems. The proposed change to the NEC regarding the definition of bundled conductors and cables underscores the importance of understanding and applying the code correctly. While the change itself might seem small, its implications for safety and compliance are significant. It highlights the need for ongoing education and training in the electrical industry to ensure that all professionals are up to date on the latest requirements. The NEC is not just a set of rules, it is a comprehensive framework for ensuring the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems. By understanding the principles behind the code and applying them diligently, electrical professionals can contribute to a safer and more efficient electrical infrastructure.